Hello, lovely students. Today we're going to be talking about consumer math, which includes if you go to the store and you spend money, that's consumer math. You are a consumer. And the things that you're looking at are sale price. If you go to a barber or you go get your nails done, if you go to a restaurant, you're going to tip them. And then if you go, of course, to a restaurant, you will tip them as well. So with shopping, there's two things you need to remember. You've got your tax and you have got a discount. A tax is always added on and a discount is subtracted. And likewise with tips, if you tip somebody, that's on top of what you normally pay them. That is a way to say thank you. And so that is an additional cost. So with tip, that would be added on as well. Okay, so let's get started. Our learning target is always the same. We're still on SOL 7.4. We're applying proportions to solve practical problems. These are real world problems, and also to solve things using tax, tip, and discounts, which I just briefly reviewed. Okay, so break out your notes. This is really quick. When do we use consumer math? Anytime you're a consumer. You're a consumer if you go and spend money. So with shopping, we're going to use tax, which is added on to our cost. And we're also going to take advantage of discounts or sales when the price is lowered. So we subtract. At restaurants, we always tip your server, your waiter, waitress, to tell them thank you, to say you did a great job. And that is an additional cost, so we add that on. Likewise, if you go to a barber shop, a hair place, nail salon, you're also going to tip them. And that is an additional cost. So I want you to think of some other uses. Take a few minutes of when you spend money, possibly write down some things, and then we'll come back when we talk about this in class next time. So with consumer math, we're going to be using a percent proportion because this is always talking about percents. When you talk about tax, it's a 5% tax, or it's, tip is 20% typically if you're in a restaurant, if they're good. And when you're talking about a discount, if you've gone to a store and you say 50% off, that means everything's half off. So we're going to use the percent proportion, which of course is that is over of equals percent over 100. But I also want you to think of this as the part over the whole. So this is the same thing, part over whole equals percent over 100. And that's what we're going to be using. So the whole price is the original price of whatever item that you're looking at or whatever service. If you're looking at the menu, what it costs when you go to a restaurant, that's the original price that you're paying. And then, of course, we have our percent of our discount, percent of our tip, whatever it is. That's always over 100. And then this little box up here is the part that we're trying to figure out. And that's where your discount's going to go. Or, oops, I can't spell. Your discount would go here, or your tax would go here, your tip would go here. So that's the part that you're paying. So like any percent proportion or any proportion, we're going to set up your proportion. And then you cross multiply to set up an equation. And that allows us to cross multiply and divide. And then you solve for the missing value, which is your tax or your tip or your discount. Now, sometimes we're done. If they say how much tax would they pay, you're done. If they say how much tip would you pay, you're done. What's your discount? How much off is it going to be? That's where you stop. However, if they ask for the sale price or the total price, then you have to do an additional step. So if they ask for a sale price when you have a discount, then you're going to subtract from the original price. I'm going to shorten it. So you're just subtracting. So you take original price minus the discount, the amount off, and then you get your sale price. Likewise, if you are doing sales tax or your tip, that is an additional cost. So on that one, you would add to the original price. So it's that simple. So set up your proportion, cross multiply and divide, clap, clap, and then solve for the missing value by dividing. That's your tax, tip, or discount. Then if they ask you to find the sale price or the total price, that's when you do that additional step by either subtracting or adding. So we put this on the back. We just put this to remind you. Part over whole equals percent over 100. What is the tax, tip, or discount out of? And then, of course, that is multiplied, cross-multiplied with percent over 100. So let's look at this first problem. It says tip means, if I have a tip, that means I'm going to add to the original. And I'm shortening original. I'm not writing it all out. So you're adding, putting a little plus sign there. So this says I'm having dinner at Red Lobster, and the total of my bill came to $65.13. If I leave a 22% tip, how much is the tip? So here's my first question. How much is the tip? So I'm not adding or subtracting anything right now. I'm just finding how much the tip is. But then it asks, what is the total, which means to add, you paid with tip? So we have two steps that we're doing here. We have the first one that's finding how much the tip is, and then finding the total that we're going to pay with tip. So first step, set up our proportion. Our original price, $65.13, goes on the bottom. And you're going to have lots of decimals here, so that's okay. We're solving for tip, which goes on the top because that's the part. Our percent is 22%, and that goes over 100. Now all we have to do is cross multiply. Get my handy dandy highlighter out. Let's cross multiply, which means I'm going to have 100 times x, and then I'm going to have 22 times $65.13. When I do that, I get 100x is equal to $1,432.86, but now I have to divide by 100, which moves my decimal place over. So it's $14, and we have all these decimals. But remember, when we're dealing with money, we only go 2 places behind the decimal, so we have to look at this number. 8 is going to shove 32 cents, so it becomes $14.33. That is our tip. That answers the first question. Now, the second question says, what is the total that we're going to pay with tip? So now we have to take our original price, which was the $65.13, original price, and we're going to do something with that tip. When you go to a restaurant and your parents pay the tip, ask them, is that added onto the price or subtracted from the price? If you're paying the waiter, your bill's not going down, it's actually going to go up. So we have to add that because it's a cost out of our pocket. So when we add those together, the answer is going to be $79.46. So that is our total price. So it is a lot of math. It's not a whole lot if you think of just doing the proportion, solving to find the tip, and then you either add or subtract. Looking at this next one, tax means when we have a tax, that means that we have to add on. It's an additional cost. So we're going to add to the original price. Again, I'm just shortening original so we don't have to write it out. Now let's read through, and we're going to highlight what we need to know. A $75 pair of Ugg boots with a 5% sales tax, and they want to know what is the amount of the tax. And then the second question says, what is the total price paid? So remember, we're going to add on for tax because it's an additional cost. So let's set up our proportion. We're going to do X over the original price, which was $75. And then our percent is 5% over 100. We're going to cross multiply. When we cross multiply, we get 100 times X. And then we have 75 times 5, which is 375. Divide by 100 to solve. And we get X is equal to $3.75. If you get a tax that is $300 and something, that's way too high, because most of the time your tax is around $1, maybe $2, maybe $3. It's usually less than $5, unless you're spending a whole lot of money. And the more you spend, the more your tax is going to be. So here is the amount of our tax right here, $3.75. Now our next question says, what do I do? $3.75, tax means I have to add it to the original price. So I go back to my original price, which was $75, and I have to add my tax in. Normally when you go to the cash register and you're ringing up your purchase, the tax is automatically calculated for you, so you don't have to do this, but you need to be able to think about it in your head so that when you go to buy something, you make sure you have enough money. So if I add these together, I get 75 cents, and we get $78.75, and that is our total price. That's how much I'm going to pay out of pocket. Okay. Last one is a discount. You like discounts. That means something's on sale. So if something is on sale, that means we're going to subtract from the original price. If you need to document, discount means it's on sale. We like those because that means we save money. So let's highlight what we need to know. $55 for a set of headphones, and they are 15% off. If you see the word off, that automatically clues you in. It's a discount. The price is going to go down. What is the amount of the discount? That's our first question. And then we have a second question that says, what is the total amount you're going to pay? Even though total usually means to add, sometimes they'll put that in there, but you have to know that if it says it's this much off, it's going to be subtracted. So let's set up our proportion. X over our original price, which was $55. Our discount is 15% off, so we're going to put that over 100. Cross multiply. So we have 100x, 100 times x, and then 55 times 15, which is 825. Divide by 100. And x equals $8.25. That is your amount of discount. So that's the first, answers the first question. Now, I'm not done because I need to find the sale price. What am I going to do with $8.25? This is how much off it is. So it's $8.25 off. So I take my original price, which is $55, and I'm going to subtract the discount because it's off the price. So it makes my price go down. So when I subtract, I end up with $46.75. So that's all you have to know. Think about it. Tax and tip are added to the price. Discount is subtracted. The only thing that's going to hang you up on these is reading the problem carefully to say, do they want the discount or the tax or the tip, which means I just cross multiply and divide, or do they want me to add or subtract to find the total price that I'm going to pay? Don't forget to log in and do your quiz.